Hey everyone, I'm Ian Douglas, the author of the website techinterview.guide. I do live streams every Sunday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern about topics relevant to interview preparation for the tech industry. I occasionally record longer Q&A sessions, and I've started to break those into smaller videos to post. And there'll be information at the end of this video about how to get in contact with me if you have additional questions. Let's get to it. Now, even saying the phrase sit by the phone and wait, we don't literally like sit at home and wait for a landline to ring anymore. We've pretty much all got mobile phones at this point. And so you're not really sitting around waiting for someone to call. You're still going to be out in mobile and doing other things. But what I mean by that is like, don't sit and wait and say, well, I'm going to apply for this job, and if I don't hear in 30 days, then I'm going to go apply for the next job. No, you should be applying to multiple jobs all the time. Until you get a job offer that you're signing, you should continue applying for jobs. You should continue interviewing for jobs. It's easier to close down an interview process than to like ramp everything all back up again and go, well, that job didn't pan out. It's time to move on to plan B. Like, you should have like 15 plans all running at the same time. And it can be a lot to juggle. And I understand that that statement is going to feel overwhelming for some watching this. I get that, and I'm not suggesting that everybody must be applying to 15 jobs at a time. That's not what I'm saying. That's a bit of an exaggeration. You should apply for as many jobs as you can manage. If you can apply for 2 jobs a day or 2 jobs a week, and that's all you can manage, then that's all you can manage. That's fine. There's no expectation on you from me or anybody else how many jobs you should be applying to. But I would highly suggest don't apply to one job and then wait to hear a no before applying for the next job. You should always be applying to multiple jobs, because it's a lot easier to call a company and say, hey, I appreciate your time. I know we had an interview lined up for next week. I've actually had a job offer. I've signed it, so I don't need to do that interview anymore. Thanks for your time. It's far easier to do that than to kind of, like I say, spin everything back up again. Spontaneous Silver says in chat, don't put all your eggs in one basket. It took me 300 applications to get the first job. 300 is a lot, but yeah, it can be like that in tech, depending on the time of year when you're applying. Historically in the past, like towards the end of the year had been a little bit of a quieter hiring time, because it's kind of getting into the holiday season. Some companies would wait until January, February when their budgets would get refreshed. But I think with pandemic and everything else, I think a lot of companies just kind of got to a point where they're like, you know what, we got work to do. Like, we're just going to hire. When I worked at Turing, the last couple of Q4s were actually some of the busiest quarter 4s that we saw as far as students getting jobs. Because a lot of companies, like especially Q4 of 2020, companies are like, all right, we're remote, but we still got to hire. So we'll figure it out. And they were, hiring like mad. And same thing with Q4 2019, if I recall. I think we had like another record Q4. So I think the myth of excuse me, applying later in the year is a bad thing, is not really as applicable anymore as it has been in the past. That said, like, I'm not trying to downplay Spontaneous Silver at all, saying they had to apply to 300 jobs. That can absolutely be legit. I've heard of people doing hundreds and hundreds in order to get a single phone call. It can be tricky. It can be a lot, and it can feel very deflating as a human to put yourself out there and not get any contact, not get any phone calls, not get any interviews. And so it really comes down to like, why does it take us 300 applications? I think that's a good question. Why does it take so many applications to even get a single phone call back from a company? I don't have a good answer for you. I wish that our tech industry was better about hiring. That's one of the things that I'm trying to really improve at Stream with the role that I have with onboarding and kind of taking like an education role within the company of, let's just go find smart people who are good problem solvers, and we'll train them on whatever skills they don't have. So we don't have to wait and wait through like hundreds of applications for a job before we find the one person who has the right mix of skills, so that we can go interview them and find out that no, they've actually never worked on a team before, so they're not going to work out after all. So now we got to keep waiting for another good candidate to come in. It's like, you know what, let's just find people that are good at working on teams, that are good problem solvers, and let me worry about hiring them up or training them up on the tech stack that we need, or whatever team they're going to be on. Like, here's the content that they need to know. And so that's kind of the role that I'm taking on at Stream. which is a lot of fun. It's also pretty overwhelming, mixing in like all the other onboarding and stuff that we want to do. But it's a really, really great challenge for sure. Luckily, it only takes one company to give you a chance. That's true, but it can be a long journey to find that one company for sure. But yeah, once you get that first job, all the other jobs are way easier. It's the first job that's the hardest one. And I actually was on a call with someone else. I forget where it was. I was like watching someone else on a Zoom call. Oh, I know what it was. It was on Jonan's stream. I was watching one night, and somebody was just saying in chat, like, "Oh yeah, I lied on my resume and said that I had like 2 or 3 years experience at some other job, and that got me that next job, and then I just changed my resume, and then that became my first job." I'm like, that's dangerous though. Like, how do you just consistently lie during an interview knowing that you're misleading them? Because that's a fireable offense. Like, I would dismiss you the moment I found out. Like, you would just be out. Like, I wouldn't trust you to even like try to recover from that scenario. I would literally walk you to the door and like you'd be done that day. So it's a dangerous thing to do. I do not recommend that whatsoever. But once you do get that first job, it is much, much easier to get the second job for sure. All right, well, I got 4 questions left here. So we're going to kind of go through those. If you've got other questions in chat, feel free to drop things in there as well. Hey, thanks for watching. I love helping people out with interview prep, and I hope this video helped you in some way. If you found this Q&A useful, please consider subscribing. You can follow me on Twitch as well for the live stream twice a week. Check out techinterview.guide/streaming for more information. I also have a daily email series that you can subscribe to on the website. There are never any ads, and when you finish the series, I scrub your information out of my database permanently. Finally, if you have a question that you'd like answered on the stream, you can find my contact info on techinterview.guide. I prefer LinkedIn or email. If you leave your question in a YouTube comment, it might take me longer to find it, but I'll see you next time.